Hey, this is John 5 for Premier Guitar and Big 5. My favorite guitar is a Fender Custom Shop gold Telecaster, 2 humbuckers, double bound, and it is my signature model. But I love this guitar more than anything. I'm with it all the time. It has a metal pick guard, and it's all gold and it has a gold pick guard. But I play it so much that I wore into the metal pick guard. So there is a huge, not little, but there is a really deep kind of dip, if you will, in this metal pick guard. And Fender saw it and they said, you know what? We should change that out. I don't know how safe that is because my fingers here, because I play so much that they would be black, and I would wipe it off on my, and it was just the fragments from the chrome. And so I did switch that out, but it's something to see. It's like Willie Nelson's Trigger, but metal, How I got the specs to Goldie and to my signature models is I am a connoisseur to Fender history. I love Fender history, and I have a lot of guitars, a lot of Teles, and luckily me living in Los Angeles, I wasn't too far from the factory, which was in Corona, California. And so I took a drive and I took some of my favorite old vintage Teles, and I said, I really like the neck on this one. And I really like the body on this one, the double bound. And these were just old Telecasters that I had. And I really like the headstock on this one, or I like where, how this feels. And so I dropped those 2 vintage guitars off, and they kind of created the Frankenstein version of these guitars. And they were 60s Telecasters. And they really hit it out of the park. The electronics are definitely different. I wanted to go with humbuckers because I play these big, loud, ridiculous shows, and I just love the Telecaster Deluxe, and they had the humbuckers in there. And I was just like, yeah, this is a monster, and that's what I wanted because I wouldn't get, pickup noise or hum or feedback or anything like that. So that's why I put humbuckers in the bridge and the neck, and I'm using the DiMarzio Super Distortions, and they sound killer, and it's perfect. It's just perfect for me. I'm just so lucky and so thankful to be associated with such a great company. And I'm not just saying that. Even if I would play Telecasters if Fender dropped me right away, I'd still be playing the Telecaster. I wouldn't care. I'm always going to be playing it. It's just who I am. It's just a part of me. My thoughts on the pickups, to be completely honest with you, I could go into technical things and this, that, and the other thing, but I am not very particular. I love DiMarzio, and I've always used it. Sounds great to me, so I put them in all my guitars. It's so elementary. It's so primitive. It's just like if something works for me, I like it. But I'm not that chasing tone guy. I really am not. Maybe I should be, but I really think that I love my Telecaster. I love my Marshall. I love my DiMarzio. I love my Boss pedals, but I think most of the sound is coming from myself, my hands, and how I play guitar. With my new record, Sinner, there are very, very traditional sounding Tele, old 50s style sounding songs. And one is How High the Moon, and another is Georgia on My Mind. And I'm using Goldie. I'm using double humbucker, but my producer, Barry Pointer, now this is where I'm not great at this stuff, but he's smart enough to go, oh, okay, well, let's use this old amp and let's use this Echoplex and make it sound like how it did back in the day. But I did use the same guitar, but I do attack it differently. I will use not a heavy pick, and I'll use more of a lighter pick. And the way I fret and pick the guitar is different. It's more of a hard attack, a hard picking attack, and even more with the fingers too. Kind of like because it's a clean sound. So more of a Roy Clark, very percussive, or a Les Paul as a player, not the guitar. Very hard attack, and but then more of a gentle, if I'm doing finger picking, more of a Chet Atkins, where it's just very, very fluent and very legato, if you will. What's my Desert Island album? Well, if you really think about it, you want something that's a double album. You want something with a lot of music to it. And also, a lot of people pick things that they listen to their whole life. I wouldn't want to do that because I heard it my whole life. If I was stuck on a desert island, I would want something relaxing. So, I don't know. I would maybe go to I know this is anybody would say maybe Van Halen 1 or Kiss Alive or something like that. But I'm going to say probably Amadeus, Mozart, the soundtrack. I know it's an odd answer, but it's my honest answer. I would want something that there was a lot of music and there was a variety of music, and also something that was so genius and so touched by God, okay? That is something beyond that anybody could really do. You have so much time in the world, but really pick it apart and really appreciate it and probably never get tired of listening to it. What is my guitar culture pet peeve? Boy, that is a great, great question. I like to learn so many different styles of playing, and I don't like when people are like, oh, this is easy or this is that. It's not. It's even if something is simple, it's difficult to do. If there's like a simple guitar piece that's like, it just sounds like it's a couple chords and a little melodic solo, it's difficult, to do. It's difficult to do because you have to have the right sound, the right feeling, and the right, deliverance, if you will, of putting something like that. So when someone's like, oh, no, that's easy to do, or that's something that it really isn't, and that's why there's great session musicians that, might be a couple chords and a melodic solo, but you'd be surprised how many guitar players they would go through to get that simple piece just to make that beautiful performance. I have a guitar hero by the name of Joe Maphis, and a lot of people don't know Joe Maphis, but I beg and plead to whoever is listening or watching this to please check out Joe Maphis. He was a beyond shredder in the 50s and 60s. He was so fast and so, oh my God, so like his playing was so perfect and it was effortless. He would just stand there live. I mean, live when on TV, because you could see it on YouTube. These shows were live, not like, yeah, we have an hour to fix things or blah, 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 blah. These were like, go, you know, and he would just be playing perfectly, you know, tipping his hat, burning. Then he would put the guitar down and pick up a banjo and then start playing the banjo, burning. Take the banjo off, pick up a mandolin, start playing the mandolin, take the mandolin away, pick up a stand-up bass, playing stand-up bass. And then you're like, wow, this is great. Then he'd grab a fiddle and just start burning on it all in one song. What's my secret weapon? I have a very obvious answer for that. And what my secret weapon is Goldie. I can play any show, anything with any amp, any rig, any pedals, but I have to have Goldie. I'll give you a quick story. We were going from Arizona to California, and we were playing at Irvine Meadows, big show, and all the gear got fried. It was so hot, you know, in Arizona, and all my amps went down. And we were at sound check, none of the amps worked. And everybody's panicking. You know, there's 20,000 people going to be there in a couple hours. What do we do? What are we going to do? And I said, oh, don't worry, just get me any amp and I'll be fine. And so they had a head in storage at this venue. Boom, plugged it in. I played the show, you know. But as long as I have my guitar, everything is okay.